Hey guys, my name is Alex Garcia. I am a music education major at Arkansas Tech University. I play the trumpet.
And I'm Caleb Hopkins, and I am also a music education major at Arkansas Tech, and I also play the trumpet.
So, the first thing we're going to talk about, guys, is what is articulation? And articulation is the act of briefly separating the airflow by the tongue making contact with the roof of your mouth, like right behind your teeth, and you want to make sure that the airflow is still connected.
The absence of articulation is called slurring. Slurring is playing note to note completely connected without interrupting the airflow.
It's hard to physically show this, but what you want to think about is the tongue lightly tapping the roof of the mouth right at the top of the roof of your mouth and right behind the teeth. And we'll show a picture here to explain what we mean, because you can't always see what it's like because you can't look in someone's mouth while learning articulation.
The tongue should not go through your teeth, because then it will touch your lips, which will make the vibration stop.
You want to have a clear separation, but still have a connected sound, unlike what we were talking about, your tongue going through your teeth, because that's going to stop the sound, and you don't want that sound to be stopped. You want to make sure it's connected, and you can hear everything through the separation.
You want to remember to keep your air moving the entire time.
So one way that you can teach younger students what to think about when they're going to articulate, you want to use the syllables ta or tu or tie or t, just like really anything that makes that movement of the tongue touch the roof of your mouth so they can understand what they're doing when they articulate.
Here's a great analogy. Picture a water faucet. Now imagine taking your finger and flicking it through the water. The water flow doesn't stop, it's just interrupted briefly.
Yeah, the turning off of the water faucet is equivalent to stopping the airflow. Like we were talking about earlier, if you were to play with your tongue going through your teeth, then that's essentially turning off the water faucet, and you don't want that happening because then your sound's going to be super choppy. We're going to demonstrate airflow using tube, and I'll show you with my air, as you can hear it, how it sounds. So as you can see, you can hear the tube, you can hear the separation, but you can also still feel that there is connected airflow, and you never stop the airflow. And then so I'll also demonstrate on tonguing on the G, as you'll still hear the sound, and you'll still be able to hear that separation with the tongue. Yes. And then Caleb here will demonstrate what over-tonguing does and how that, what not to do, talking about earlier with the water faucet, turning it off. That's exactly what we're talking about when you're over-tonguing. It just sounds really bad, and you don't want that kind of sound with your students.
There are many different types of articulation. The two broad types of articulation are connected and separated.
So we know all the types of articulation, such as staccato, legato, marcato, but if you think about it, all of those go into two big categories: connected and separated. Connected is like slurring. It's very smooth. There's light separation in between. And then separated, you have a major gap of separation between each note, and that's where we come in with all the different styles, and we put them into the two categories of connected and separated. And we're gonna it's important to distinguish these two types from the beginning. So when you have students, you want to make sure to practice. We'll show some exercises what you want to practice when we're doing separated and connected with students. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate an exercise just on a simple G of what to do when you're practicing connected and separated. So and this is separated. So yeah, when you do this exercise with students, you want to make sure that when they're doing the separated style, that they're not stopping the airflow, because that can be a big issue later on in their career. So one exercise that we're going to demonstrate here is the Goldman exercise. This, you can tell the difference between connected and separated, which I'll show you right now. I'll do connected first, so. Then we'll do the separated. And as you can see, doing this every day with your students, making sure that they know the difference between separated and connected, is going to reinforce keeping that airflow steady. Okay, so for the first articulation style we're going to talk about staccato. Staccato is a light attack with some space, and then you want to have a lift at the end. So it's a light attack with some space. All right.
The next articulation style we'll talk about is tenuto. And tenuto is long, connected, and almost slurred, so I'll demonstrate that.
Okay, so the next one we'll talk about is accent. Accent is really common in march styles, and it's really common articulation for trumpet players. Accent is a strong beginning, and it's a decay. So the symbol is like a greater than symbol. And if you think about it, you want that big attack and then the decay at the end. And I'm going to demonstrate that for you.
The final articulation style that we want to talk about is marcato. Marcato is a heavy attack, and it's almost like a boom. So I'll demonstrate that.
Okay, one thing that we're going to cover is multiple tonguing, because that has to do with articulation on the trumpet. And one thing that, two things actually that we go over with is double tongue and triple tongue. And so it's just like single tonguing with the ta syllable, but we're adding another one to increase the speed of the sound of the single tongue. So we're at ta-ka, ta-ka. And so one thing you want to do when you're learning to do double tonguing is work on that ka syllable, because you're not used to using that syllable. And so working on that will help reinforce the balance between the ta and the ka syllable when you're going fast, while keeping that steady airflow. Next thing we're going to talk about is triple tongue. Triple tongue uses the TTK letters to get that triplet sound while going fast. So what you want to do with these is make sure that the T, and the K are balanced and even, just like on the double tongue. The best guide for learning double tongue and triple tongue is the Arbin's book. It has a whole multiple tonguing section. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you what it sounds like when you use the ta and the ka syllable for the double tongue. It sounds like this. You see how even though you're making a different sound, it still sounds even, and they sound like the exact same note. That's what you want when you're working on double tongue. And then we'll go ahead and do the triple tongue. As you can see, that also sounds very similar to the double tongue, but it's in that triplet style. And you can see that each note is even, and that is what your goal is when working on multiple tonguing, is to keep that articulation balanced and the airflow steady through each note.
Articulation is a very important tool that trumpet players have in their toolbox, and it needs to be practiced every day. To practice articulation, there are many exercises you can use to improve, such as Gecker,
Arbin,
Goldman,
and Brandt. Alright, so this is Gecker. This is one of those books that we were talking about that you can use to practice articulation. Something that I typically do is I like to slur it so that I can hear the connection with the airflow, and then I go ahead and tongue so I can still hear the separation and I can still hear the airflow as well. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate this for you.
Next, we'll demonstrate an exercise from the Goldman book that is for, it's best for staccato. So I'll demonstrate. as you can see, articulation is a very important part of trumpet playing and wind playing in general.
Yeah, so we talked about what articulation is, we talked about the different styles of articulation, and we also talked about different exercises that you could do. Thank you guys for watching this video, and we hope that we were able to inform you about articulation.
Now go practice.
Please.